Hi, my name is Kristen and welcome to NoCopay Educations. If you haven't watched our videos beforehand, please click the link below. I talked about what I used to study, how I passed, and I went over different practice tests of the Ptcb exam. So in this new series, I will be discussing certain topics you will need to know in order to pass the Ptcb exam or the Pharmacy Technician Board Certification Board exam. So let's get started. Hi, and thank you for tuning in. In today's lesson, for lesson number 1, we will be talking about how to read Roman numerals and how to apply it in the pharmacy setting. So first off, you'll have to know what Arabic numbers are and what Roman numerals are. Arabic numbers are typically the numbers that you see, and Roman numerals are represented as I, V, X, L, C, D, M. Go ahead and take some time to read through this chart. Be able to identify what letter represents which number. So in order to represent the numbers using the letters, you'll have to memorize several rules, which I will be going over. Rule number 1, if a letter is repeated, so does its value. So for example, I, it represents the number 3. You cannot use more than 3 of the same letters, and the letters V, L, D are never repeated. I will be representing some examples later on in this video. Rule number 2, the letters after a letter of a greater value are added. So in this example, XII represents 12. So if you want to break that down, X represents 10, I represents 1, I represents 1. So if you add that all together, XII, 10 plus 1 plus 1, then that equals 12. Rule number 3, smaller letters can only be subtracted from the next higher 2 of the highest letter. The letter I can be subtracted from V or X, but it cannot be subtracted from L, C, D, or M. Additionally, X can be subtracted from L or C, but not from D or M. So if you go back to the chart, you can see that I, 2 letters greater, is V and X. And then for X, the 2 greater letters are L and C. So those are the letters that can only be subtracted. So after rule number 3, you'll have to know rule number 4. So the smaller letter between the 2 larger ones is subtracted from the second one. So in this example, CXC represents 190. C is 100, X is 10, and C is 100. So the first C is before the X. So since C is greater, C is just represented as 100. XC represents 90 because you'll take the C, which is 100, subtract 10, which is the X, which will equal 90. So CXC represents 190. Just remember that the 90 is only represented by the XC. Rule number 5, letters before a letter of a greater value are subtracted. So XC equals 90, X equals 10, C is 100. 100 subtract X, since the X is before the C, that equals 90. Only one smaller letter can be in front of a larger one. Never write IIV. That can never represent 3. To represent 3, you want to use III. And then the last bullet point, V, L, and D are never used to subtract a larger number. So in order to represent the number 15, never write VXX. It can only be represented as XV. So let's take a quiz and see if you could retain any of the information you learned from this video. I know this is a difficult topic, so feel free to watch this first part again. In this practice number 1, a prescription calls for capsules number XXVIII. Convert the Roman numerals to Arabic numbers. Go ahead and take some time. You can refer back to the first chart, but once you're ready for the answer, click play. So did you get 28? So XX, each X equals 10. Then afterwards, VII, V is 5, III represents 3. Once you add that all together, your total should be 28. Practice number 2. Convert 493 into Roman numerals. Take some time to practice. Once you have your answer, click play. Did you get CDXCIII? So, in order to get the answer, 400 is represented as CD. Since the C is before the D, you can subtract. So it's 500, which is the D, subtract 100, which is the C, and that is 400. Next, the XC, since X is smaller than C, that means that it is subtracted. So 100 is represented as the C, and the X is represented as 10. Subtracting, you'll get 90. Next, you have the 3 I's, and the I's are each represented as the number 1. So once you add that, that's 3. So taking the total, your Arabic number is 493. Practice number 3. Is VC a valid Roman numeral? Why or why not? Take some time to analyze this question. Once you have your answer, click play. The answer is no. Like I said before, C is greater than 2 letters from V. So V can never be subtracted from a larger number. Also, C is more than 2 letters away from V. Refer to the chart at the beginning of the video. So if you remember, I is the smallest, that represents 1. V represents 5. X represents 10. 50 is represented as L, and 100 is represented as C. As you can see, V is more than 2 letters away. So there's no way you can subtract V from C. Additionally, you never ever use V to subtract. Only I and X are used in subtraction. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions, go ahead and comment below, or you can email us at nocopaytutorials@gmail.com. All the information used in this PowerPoint and in this video were taken from different websites and from my personal notes. You can refer to these links in this area if you would like more practice. Thank you, and tune in to our next episode.